So somebody came in to help me set up all of my filming equipment and was very curious about everything. She was into everything, weren't you? So I think we caught the filming bug. Slash, I want to be cuddled and held and pet because Brenna is very sweet, aren't you? So aside from Brenna's cuteness, I'm also here today to film my 10,000 subscriber celebration Q&A video because I asked you guys to ask me some questions last week, and you guys did, and now I'm here to answer them, so stay tuned to hear all the answers to your questions. Hello everyone, it is Samantha and I hope you guys had a great weekend. It is Monday and the start of a brand new week, so I hope you guys will all have a wonderful week this week. I'm excited about today's video because it is kind of my little celebration for hitting 10,000 subscribers. I hit 10,000 subscribers last week. I still cannot believe that many people watch my videos. Like, it just blows my mind that people want to sit here and watch me ramble on about books and all of my geeky interests and things, and it's wonderful. So thank you guys so much for all of your love and support. You guys are the ones that make doing this so much fun, and it's fantastic. So in honor of that, I decided to do a Q&A video. So last week, on my Friday Reads video, I asked you guys to ask me some questions. So today, I'm going to try and answer as many as I can, so stay tuned to see if one of your questions will be answered. So the first question I have is from Julia Talks Too Much, and her question was, would I rather only be able to read my favorite author for the rest of my life, or only be able to read anybody but my favorite author? And that is really, really hard, because what is running through my mind right now is never being able to read another Robin Hobb book again. She's one of my favorite authors and one of the ones that's currently publishing like the series and the books that I'm interested in. So if I was only ever able to read anybody but my favorite author, I would never know what happens to Fitz and the Fool, and that would be devastating, and I don't think I could handle that. So, but then I wouldn't be able to read anything else, anything new. I would have to go with never being able to read my favorite author again, because if I didn't, I'd be missing out on so many other amazing books, and as much as I love Robin Hobb, I would rather be able to experience new things. So that was a good question. That was a hard one. My next question comes from Karina Kessler, and she asked if I could go anywhere in the world, where would I go? Hands down, that would be Ireland. I love Ireland. It is a part of my heritage I am the most connected to, and one day I would love to visit there, even live there. I just love it so much. I love studying the history and the mythology and the culture. It's everything. I love it. And one day I want to visit it, and it will happen one day. It will happen. Martha Stoneman asked me how I go about browsing a bookstore. I don't really know if I have a specific way. I know I like to go for the genre that is my favorite, which is fantasy, and then I'll kind of make my way over to the classic section, which is my other favorite genre, and I tend to just kind of look, see if there's a cover that catches my eye, go and visit some of my favorite authors sections, and see if maybe there's a book I missed, like one by them I didn't know about, and I just kind of, I'm all over the place when I go to the bookstore. I don't really have a specific method for browsing the bookstore. I'm very ADD. I kind of tend to go wherever, whatever catches my eye, I kind of make my way towards it. Onibus asked me how fast I read and what's the biggest book that I have finished in one sitting. I'm not really sure how fast I read. I did time it once, and I think I average about 50 to 60 pages an hour if I don't do anything but sit down and read. And I used to be faster when I was younger, because I used to be able to read these chunkers in a couple of days, and I cannot do that anymore. So after college, my reading speed definitely slowed down, so I can't read that fast anymore. But it's probably about 50, 60, 70 pages an hour, depending upon the book. As for the longest book I've ever finished in one sitting, it's probably going to be one of the Harry Potter books, and I finished the 4th book in almost 24 hours. I did take some breaks, so it wasn't like just one sitting, but I pretty much read any given moment. I remember staying up late to read it, so I would probably be the 4th Harry Potter book. Colleen Palladino asked if I have any Fae book recommendations. I'm actually planning on doing a whole video devoted to Fae retellings and Fae stories, because that's one of my favorite types of fantasy. But a couple of good recommendations is anything by Juliet Marillier at all. Like, all of her stories contain Fae elements, and they're really, really good. Another one would be the Squire's Tale series by Gerald Morris, though it is an Arthurian legend retelling. It also incorporates a lot of the different Fae stories as well. Caitlin S. asked me who my favorite bookish villain is. I'm actually going to go with Morgoth from Tolkien's Middle-earth saga. He wasn't in The Lord of the Rings. He was kind of a precursor to Sauron, and he was horrible. Like, you read about him in the Children of Húrin and the Silmarillion, but you guys think that Sauron was bad? He makes Sauron look good. Like Morgoth, I'm not really sure how you say it. It's Morgoth or Morgoth. He was so evil. Like, the things he did were truly terrible and abhorrent, and like, yeah, he just makes Sauron look like a kitten. Like, he's terrible. So he's definitely one of my favorite bookish villains, just because he's so like big and intimidating and massive and cruel. Like, he's definitely a villain. Chris Vigilante asked if I were to name a kid after a book character, which one would it be? I don't know. That is so hard. I might name my kid Darcy after Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. Would love to name my son Fitz if I ever had a kid, but I would not be that mean. I don't think I can name my kid Fitz because they would probably be teased endlessly. I also really like the name Seamus, which of course is one of Harry's friends from Harry Potter, so I don't know, I might use that name too. I don't really know, it's always hard. I have a really hard time picking names. Like even when I play video games and you have to name something, I sit there forever agonizing over what to name the character. Like it's very big internal struggle for me when it comes to naming things because I cannot make decisions. It's terrible. Sarah Night Owl asks if I were to cast myself, Kales from Kales Corner, Michael from Bitten by a Radioactive Book, and Joss from Joss Scribbles Reads, Kevin from The Irish Reader, Casey from A Basket Casey Reads, and Gabrielle from Formiosa Reads as characters from books, who would they be? That is a hard question. I don't know who I would cast myself as. I guess Anne. I've always felt kind of connected to Anne. I've always liked Anne as a character, and I think that she definitely has a strength and a courage that I wish I would have at times, a confidence that I wish I would have at times. So I would like to think I'm like Anne. I mean, I'm probably not as awesome as Anne is, but I would probably cast myself as Anne from Anne of Green Gables just because I really like her character. Kales, I could definitely see as like a Hermione character, so I could definitely see her as Hermione. Definitely smart and fun, somebody I could see being a good friend. I could definitely see as Kales, so Kales is definitely kind of Hermione-esque for me. Kevin from The Irish Reader, he kind of reminds me of Fred or George Weasley. He kind of has that sense of humor. He's kind of fun, and I could see him kind of being a prankster, so I would definitely cast Kevin as one of the Weasley twins. Casey is so pretty and so sweet. I could definitely see her as Princess Buttercup from The Princess Bride. Joss I can definitely see as Lizzie from Pride and Prejudice. Joss has that same kind of fun, courageous, confident, witty personality that Lizzie has from Pride and Prejudice, so I can definitely see her as Lizzie. And Michael, I could definitely see how he could be Gimli, kind of has a little bit of a smart-ass nature to him and not afraid to kind of fight for what he believes in and believe in his convictions, and I could definitely see Michael as Gimli from The Lord of the Rings. And I know your love for dwarves, Michael, so I think you might be happy with that choice. It's Jane Lindsay asked what the most important aspect for a good fantasy book is for me. Is it the characters, world building, etc.? For me, it's definitely the characters. I look for very character-driven fantasy, which I think is why I love Robin Hobb's books so much, because they're so very much character-driven and her characters are very well-rounded and everybody's connected in such a really intricate way. And I love that about her books, and I love that about fantasy books in general when they have really strongly developed characters, because that's really what makes a fantasy story for me. Elizabeth Page asked how I go about choosing what book to read next. I don't really have a strategy. I think I just look at my shelves and I'm like, oh, that one looks good. I'm in the mood for that one. And then I pick that one. Sometimes I'll kind of have a general idea of what book I want to read next, and then I am ready for it because I know I want to read it. Hi, Bailey. Hi. Oh, hi. Did you miss me? What have you been doing? Hi. You look okay. Bailey's going to come in. Oh. Bailey is going to lay in my lap. You going to lay in my lap? No? Okay. I love you. Big baby. I guess we're going to lay in my lap now. So I don't really have a specific strategy, just whatever kind of catches my eye. She also asked what color socks I am wearing. I'm wearing plaid gray pink socks, which I would show you, but somebody's laying in my lap, so I can't. Kevin from The Irish Reader asked me if I could change one thing from a book, what would it be and why? This is spoilers for the Harry Potter series, so if you are one of the few people on Earth who haven't read it, then you can know when I put my hand down it is safe for you to unmute the video. But if I could change one thing, it will be Sirius Black's death. I am just so not over it. I was so devastated when I read that book, the 5th book, and he died, and I'm still not over it, guys. I'm still not over it. I know I should be over it, but I will never be over it, so I would change Sirius Black dying. There was no point to it. I want Harry to live with Sirius. I wanted him to have his godfather for the rest of his life, so when she killed him off, I was so bitter, and I still am. So definitely Sirius Black's death. That is what I would change. Quest for Books asks me who my favorite character from The Lord of the Rings is, and this is going to have to go to Sam and Gandalf. Those are probably two of my favorite characters from the stories. I love how Samwise is so strong. He's kind of like probably the strongest hobbit there because he really had to help Frodo and carry him through so much, and he just stuck with him through everything. And I love Gandalf because he doesn't love Gandalf. Gandalf is so badass and awesome, and he creates fireworks, and I love fireworks, so Gandalf is pretty dang epic. She also asked if I like Star Wars. Fun fact, I have never watched Star Wars. Not one of them. I need to. It's something I do want to do at some point. It just hasn't happened. So I don't know whether or not I like it or not because I haven't seen any of them. Not one. Time and Chance asked what other things I'm into aside from books and booktubing. I really enjoy video games. I enjoy crocheting. I do like to bake, though I have not baked in a while, which is sad, and I should rectify that. I enjoy coloring, especially with all of this new influx of the adult coloring books. I've really enjoyed that as well. I really like hanging out with my family and my pets. Just, you know, a lot of things catch my interest, but those are just a few. XXX Bexy XXX asked which book character would I want to date and run away into the sunset with. This is probably going to be a toss-up between Wesley from The Princess Bride, Mr. Knightley from Emma, which is my favorite Austen book. Both of those characters I would not mind dating because they both are pretty awesome and epic and romantic. Especially Wesley. Fun fact, when I was a kid, I actually had a crush on Wesley from The Princess Bride for a very, very long time. But he's an awesome character, so I guess you can see why. Kaiser Rule, which I might be saying wrong, so I apologize, asked what camera I use for videos and what software do I use for editing. I actually currently use a Canon EOS 70D DSLR camera for filming, but I used to use a little Canon video camera that my dad let me use that was his for filming. And as for editing software, I use Final Cut Pro 10. Elizabeth from Elizabeth Book Babble asked what my favorite episode of Doctor Who is. This is a really hard thing to choose. Oh, it's going to be from the 4th season. Fires of Pompeii is definitely one of my favorites. Love that episode. I also really like the Van Gogh episode from the 11th Doctor's era. But then I also really like the Ribos Operation, which is the serial from the 4th Doctor's era. Really, really love that one as well. So it's hard to choose. I can't choose just one. But those are 3 of my favorites. The Fires of Pompeii, the Van Gogh episode, and then the Ribos Operation, which is actually a series of several episodes from the 4th Doctor. Those are probably my 3 favorite episodes, serials. Oh, also Family of Blood Part 1 and 2. I really, really like those 2 episodes. I might like those more than Fires of Pompeii and the Van Gogh episode. Yeah, see, it's hard to choose. I can't choose just one. Michelle's Life asked me, what is one thing I have learned about myself through making videos? I don't know what that would be. I gesticulate a lot. I do. I use my hands a lot while talking. I talk really fast. I've learned that about myself, but I already kind of knew that. Also that I mumble. But I think probably the most important thing I have learned is that I can have confidence in myself and I can actually commit to something and do it and follow through on it and make it successful. And I think that's something I've always kind of doubted about myself, if that makes any sense. That's been kind of nice to see. I mean, I'm coming up on my 2nd anniversary and I'm still doing it and I'm still loving it. And so the fact that I can take something, a medium that was unknown to me, which is vlogging, you know, blogging through filming, vlogging, and something that I didn't know how to do and learn it and do it and become, you know, somewhat good at it, I think. You know, I'm definitely better than when I first started. Like, my first videos were so terrible. I was so awkward. So I definitely have seen my confidence grow, which I think is probably an important thing that I have learned through making these videos. Sabrina from Stacatino asked me a fun question, and that is, if I were a book, what kind of book design would I have? Would I be hardback, paperback, deckled edges, gilded edges, etc.? I would like to think I'd be a hardback with deckled edges. I love deckled edges, and I like to think I can be tough, so I'm going to say a hardback, and I'm going to say I'm going to be blue, because that's one of my favorite colors, so I'm going to say I'm going to be a blue hardback with the deckled edges. Yep. Nixie Nix asks what my favorite animated TV show or movie is. For TV, it's probably going to be Rugrats and Doug. Those are the 2 shows I watched all the time growing up, especially Rugrats. I had Rugrats overalls, hats, toys. I loved Rugrats. That show was the best. And then I also really, really loved Doug before Disney got a hold of it and ruined it, but that's a discussion for another video. And as for movie, oh, it's a hard one. I really loved Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast growing up. They both came out when I was a kid. But I also really love Tangled. Tangled's probably my favorite newer Disney movie. I love Tangled, and I like it. I think, me personally, I found it to be so much better than Frozen. I would say Tangled's probably their best animated movie in the past 10 years. That's just my opinion. Kelly Plant asked if I could be any animal, mythical or not, what would it be? I would definitely be a wolf. I've always loved wolves. I find them to be fascinating and awesome and beautiful creatures, and I would just like to be one if I had to be an animal. Kayla from Bookadoodles asked me what my favorite TV shows are and what is my all-time favorite movie. My top 3 TV shows are probably Doctor Who, Sherlock, and Merlin. I could just rewatch those constantly and never get tired of them. And my all-time favorite movie, this is so hard. Oh, so hard. I'm going to list some because I cannot just choose one. The Princess Bride, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Swing Kids, The Awful Truth, The Bishop's Wife, Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, so that one's my favorite. and many others that I cannot think of right now. So hard to choose, but those are just a few of my favorites. Alright guys, that's it for today's Q&A video. Thank you everyone who asked me a question. I tried to get to as many as I could, but thank you all so much for asking your questions and all of your support, and I cannot believe I'm at 10,000. It's just like mind-blowing. So thank you all so very much. I hope you guys all have a great week, and until my next video, happy reading. Bye!